Hi YouTube, Neil here with FaceliftInteriors. Welcome back to our channel. So we're back with a video that's been requested, especially by one of our viewers. So this video is about how to upholster the arm and the wing of a wingback chair, but in one. Previous videos, I've done them separately. In this video, I'm going to show you how to cut, sew and upholster it all in one piece. So you're going to have a nice front facing, inside arm, nice bit of piping, inside wing, all sewn together. So I'm going to show you how to mark it out, how to cut it, how to sew it, and then how to upholster it. So as always, if you like upholstery tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so you'll see anytime a new video is uploaded. So let's get into this video. So this is how you mark, cut, sew and upholster a wing chair, arm and wing in one piece. Action! Welcome to how to do a wing and an arm and a face all in one. I'm going to do it all in one piece. So what I've done is I've cut some pieces of old fabric or lining fabric. So what I've done is I've just measured from here to under here and measured how much I'm gonna need. So I'm just laying this on. Just gonna make some cuts into here. So what I've done here is I've allowed about 1/4 inch at the front, very tight, but that's exactly how I want it. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna mark on the lining the shape. I've made sure I've got enough to come up and over, so I can staple off at the back. I've got enough to come down onto the rail at the front. So that is that bit done. Now we will do our wing. So you'll see around this side of the arm. So that is going to come round here like so. So we want the wing to follow. So all I've cut is a square bit of fabric here for the wing. Just going to make sure I've got enough up here to come over, enough around here to come round. So like I did earlier, just make some cuts in so the fabric can lay down where it needs to be. And with this wing, what I'm going to expect, I'm going to expect my cut to go relatively straight, and as we get to the front it's going to drop down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to mark along the foam where I want, because there's going to be piping, so I'm going to sew piping in here, and then it just drops off down here at an angle. See, that is where it's going to drop down, because you're coming down here, you're not going to come straight across, you're going to come down. Now what I'm going to do is mark on this wing twice, and then I'm going to lift, I'm going to mark exactly the same place but on the arm fabric. Now on this arm fabric, I want to add, I've added 1/2 inch onto here. Here I'm going to add plus 1/4 inch onto the front. Normally you add 1/2 inch, but I know that I've gone really tight here. So I'm going to add 1/4 inch onto that. I want it to be nice and tight. Don't want to have any bagginess. If from this point to this point you've got too much fabric, so between here and here, if there's too much fabric, it's going to get baggy. You're going to have a load of sagginess here. So you want it to be nice and tight. So I'm doing it extra tight, and I've marked there, and I'm going to mark that. When I take this off, I know my marks line up. That's the wing. Now we're going to do the front. So now what we're going to do is glue the front. So now I'm going to mark around the foam. So taking a template of the foam. So now we have our template. So we're going to go plus 1/2 inch all around here. Now we're going to mark on our facing. So I'm going to do one at the top, one round here. Copy same, and then one round here, so they all line up. So now I'm going to cut all these panels out in the fabric, and then I'll show you how we sew it up, and then I'll show you how we put it on. So what we're doing is we're cutting this panel out as we're going to add 1/4 inch onto the front. Make sure the pile is going down, and I'm copying them marks that I've done earlier. So there's one here. So here we go, marking top, the pile's going down. So that is the first arm, and we'll flip that over and copy that onto the other arm. So here we are with the wing. You can see there that's pretty straight. Copy those nips. So that is our facing. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to start sewing these pieces up. I'm just going to lay these on so we can see what's going on. So what I'll do is I'll sew the piping onto here first. I'll sew the piping around here first, then I'll sew that. So that's going to sew onto there. Next two. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. So we'll sew that bit of piping onto there. I'll show you how we do that. Then this wing is going to sew onto there. So we'll go there. So that is going to get sewn around there. So let's start sewing this up. So I'm going to start there, making sure I've got enough piping. So what I'm going to do is, every 1/2 inch, nip into that piping. So we get a lovely shape. And the piping sits nicely on the curves. So that is our piping sewn onto our face. Again, nipping into the piping cord. You can lift your foot, release fabric, lift your piping foot. So right, we're going to sew our wing on here first, so you know we've got our nips. So that is that nip there. So what I'm going to start, I'm going to go upside down. So we're sewing around, making sure that the nips line up. So there's the collar on. Now we've got to get the face on. Right, and that's that all sewn up, so let's go and try it on and see how it looks, eh? So what I've done is I've laid this on, put Dacron on, and I've made sure my selvage is all going backwards. That's the way I want it to sit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull that down, put a couple of staples in there. Right. So that staple down there. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling back as tight as I can get, and I'm going to put a couple of staples in there. Now we're onto the side of the wing. So I'm pulling that really tight, putting a couple of staples in there. I might put one under there. So that's that part on. Now back here, so I want to pull all this down here. One, so here. I'm going to go in and cut into that from the other side. So now, down here, so what we're essentially doing is getting lots of anchor points in the right places. So let's get one in there, or two, hold it in place. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking up, making sure that my piping's straight. Very important. So I'm pulling back as tight as I can. So what we've done is we started off down here, got this anchored in, then we went to where the piping is, pulled that back, then went around the other side, pulled that in. Now we've gone down to the bottom, pulled all of our excess out. So pulling the fabric up and over, and I'll probably put a couple of temporaries in there. Same up this way. Pull that round nice and tight. Basically all we're doing now is getting rid of all of our creases. Pulling upwards and pulling sidewards at the same time. We're going to go to the bottom again. Under here we are going to start right, so that's the bottom of the arm tacked off. We'll put the seat on and we'll see if we need to do any more there. We're around the back of the arm. See here where the wing came round? We're just going to start stapling off under here and just finishing the arm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by just going to stick a few more staples down here just to hold this in place. Because what I want to do is staple that piping in there, I can fold that inside arm under and I can start working my way back with the fabric. So I'm just going to stick and this is why earlier on I made sure that I had enough piping, and I was saying make sure you've got enough because I've got plenty, but it needs to come to underneath there. So now I'm going to staple off here. Start rounding this arm off. So that's the bottom of the arm finished. So as you can see here, we've got a lovely finish. There's no bagginess here. Now we just have to start working on this pleat. So obviously here we're going to have a pleat because there's going to be too much fabric. And now we want to work our pleat in, but it needs to be the same as the other side. See there, we've got a nice pleat on the front there. So now we're at the top of the wing. Now I can see that's all fully on and stapled. I can cut into here. And what I want to aim for is where the wood is, top and bottom. So what I mean by that is I'm going to cut up to the wood there, and then at the bottom of the wood I'm going to do the same thing. So that can go under now, be pulled under. Cut some of that away. So I'm going to have to do this again, cut in a bit more, just so you've got no bagginess here. So I'm just going to pull that tight, staple that there because I know my inside back is going to come over that, and then under here I can staple this. So that is how you upholster an arm with a wing attached and a facing attached. Alright.